Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. We are at the NEC Symposium, and we are joined by Leslie Napolitano. Leslie, thank you for being on the show.
Absolutely.
So,
my pleasure.
People may not be familiar with who you are, but you are the mother of Jen Canvasser and the grandmother of Micah.
That is correct.
Daphne, go ahead.
Well, you know, we've been talking a lot to parents these last few days, and hearing their stories, I think, has really impacted everyone. And I've always been kind of acutely aware of how complicated a NICU admission is for grandparents and extended family members who are kind of often left out of the discussion, so to speak. It seems to me that you have kind of multiple patients to care for, and so I'm hopeful
you do, because you get that call that your child has been, taken to the hospital, maybe in preterm labor, or there's complications. So there's that first panic because it's your child.
Yeah, that's your baby.
And then you sit and listen to what the doctors have to say, and then you have that worry of what's going to happen with your child. And then the potential of what's going to happen with your grandbabies. And it is difficult because you can't show that grief or worry externally, because you need to be strong for your kids and whether it's your son-in-law or your daughter-in-law, you have to be really strong for them.
Yeah.
And it's hard. I spent a lot of time in my car in the parking garage crying.
I believe it.
And hitting the steering wheel in frustration. Yeah.
What do you think we can do as clinicians or NICU professionals to support extended family members?
Well, first off, many families in the NICU don't have the, I'm going to say, privilege of having their parents or their extended family there. So if we are there, maybe not include us in the rounds in the morning, but oftentimes I was the person there for the rounds in the morning and had to communicate later what was happening. But no, we're part of the team. Know that we know what the baby looked like last night, and if there's any difference in the infant in the morning, we recognize that.
Yeah, and I think we're
very in tuned.
That's something that, thanks to your initiatives, Daphne, we've been able to really roll out in our unit, where extended family members are integral part of the care team, and also maybe something that people can remember to sort of clarify right at the beginning of the admission. These people that are grandparents, we're going to tell them just as much as you, and you are okay with this, so that there's no confusion that this is not the parents, so I cannot really tell them.
You mean
there is
having the parents consent for
right off the bat,
as their family proxy?
I would say there is that concern on the healthcare staff, and the clinicians when you're there. We set that very clear precedence early on with our staff, and we specifically asked for a set of nurses that would help care for Micah and us. As we went through the process. And again, because we recognize, changes in the babies, throughout the day, and we bring it up to the nursing staff or surgical staff as they come through to make their rounds. It's we're just as intuitive as our kids are.
Mm-hmm. How difficult is it to navigate how active you must be in the entire process? Because I think, because at some point you say,
you have to step back.
It says this is not my place, but on the other hand, maybe in this case, your daughter does something, say, I wouldn't have done this way, or I would have asked more, or I would have pressed more about this.
Jennifer and I obviously have a very incredible relationship. We can say anything we need to say to each other, which is fantastic. So we have very open lines of communication. But there were times when she was very abrupt, like, okay, stop, take a step back. I'm taking care of this. I hear what you're saying, but please. And then if I was there solo, it's like, well, I'm here. I'm
right.
I'm gonna
I'm the man in the arena.
Exactly. I mean, I can recall surgical staff came in to to check Micah's lines, and they were like, oh gosh, we have to change this line. I was holding him. And they're like, well, we can, and he was fragile. So we can either, we can move him back into the bed, or we can do it right here.
Right.
And I was like, okay, we'll do it right here.
Right.
So they did the procedure as he was on my lap.
Wow.
It was,
That's impressive.
Yeah, those are things you never will forget.
I mean, we're coming to the end of the NEC Symposium, and this has been, everybody is raving about the conference, about the symposium. Everybody is, so many compliments about the NEC Society. I'm curious about if we backtrack and come to the day where Jen tells you that she wants to build this.
Oh, I remember looking
What is your reaction?
Yes.
Both because we know, because I have to say this on the front. You are you've been here setting up.
Totally invested.
Your support for
100%.
Jen and the NEC Society is without bounds. But I'm just curious, when she presents the idea to you, do you say good idea, bad idea? How do you feel about that? Because it's utilizing a trauma to maybe a higher purpose, and that's sometimes very difficult.
Yeah, and you probably heard this from Crystal because it's a common phrase. It's either bitter or better, right? And how do you pay it forward so another family doesn't have to suffer the same things that you've had to suffer through? When we started the book drive, we're like, absolutely, we can do a book drive. We started blood drives. Absolutely, we could do blood drives in honor of Micah Smiles, right? And then when this is, the whole NEC nonprofit came up, I'm like, why not us?
Right.
Why can't it be us? Here's the money. Go do it.
Right.
Absolutely. Somebody has to do it. And we have the wherewithal, so we will kick it off.
And Jen has mentioned that basically, just like everybody in life, she had a certain set of skills that she could leverage to make this a success, and she went full throttle when it comes to that. Was there any reservation about Jen pursuing this particular road?
None, because I knew it was going to be her therapy.
Understood.
It was going to be,
so
as she
special.
has said, it's going to be the way that she was going to be able to parent Micah.
She said that. She said that
Yeah.
multiple times.
Absolutely.
And it sounds like some of the projects for the NEC Society that you've been most involved in have been part of your grieving process also.
Very artistic.
Yeah, can you tell
it's
us
sort of
about-
my relief.
Yeah, tell us about the Tree of Courage. You just posted it on social media
thank
this
you.
morning.
Thank you.
And about the book. Yes.
Okay, so Tree of Courage, and it's kind of, when you are in a space for almost a year, it becomes ingrained in you. And I knew I wanted to use primary bright colors and also have something very stark, because the PICU NICU is that way, right? It has incredible sorrow and loss, but it also has incredible happy moments. And that sort of culminated into what the Tree of Courage looks like. Which now I'm so honored that it hangs at CS Mott. And when they called me, just because I thought it was going to go into the nurses' break room, I really did. I thought that's where it was going to go, because it was a thank you to them. They said, well, we would like to hang it in a public space. And I'm like, oh wow, fantastic, great! I'm so honored. But when I walked through the door, there's double doors, and as I walked through and started down the hallway, I never noticed the floor before. The floor has all the different swirls of primary colors.
Wow.
That ended up, as you know,
They were in your mind. They were.
Right.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about that, actually, because my father is an artist as well, so I've grown up around canvas and paintings and exhibitions and whatever. The painting, for people can find the painting on the NEC Society website, but it is very Van Gogh-esque.
Yes.
And
that is not my normal style of painting. I do landscapes, and I do wild birds, predatory birds and things like that. So this is not my style at all.
And so did this, when you painted the swirls, there's a lot of different swirls of different colors. Was there an intention behind it?
There's emotion in that, right?
Yeah.
It's the NICU, PICU, the environment, the interactions with the staff, the the other families, there's just so much going around you. I believe that's where it came from.
Yeah.
And there's, moments that you're blue, and then there's green where there's life, and there's moments when you have fury. And so
I think that's exactly, depending on where you look at the painting, it draws out a different kind of emotion.
Right.
But the truth is that all of the colors are kind of abutting one another. And
Yes,
I mean,
right.
I think that is
because it really comes together. Yeah.
Right. The tree connects all these aspects,
Everything.
and it's basically a little bit like the logo of the NEC Society. This is one whole.
Yes.
And this is not
Yes.
something that can be separated.
You can't do any of those. It all comes together. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the book.
Okay, so the book, we've read a lot of books. We had, as I said earlier, we had a giving library, and we've never found the right book that would have a hopeful ending.
Right.
And kind of carry the family through a joyous moment to, oh my gosh, my little one is not well, to my little one is now gone. What do I do after? And so Jennifer's like, I'm going to write a book. I'm like,
Right.
awesome, fantastic, go write a book, because she's a great writer.
And I'll tell you, there was definitely a need in this space.
Yes.
I've purchased every book on, like, children's book, really. And that's the feel of it, though. I
Yes.
think it's for all ages.
It's for all ages, yes.
And none of them quite fit what I felt our families needed leaving the NICU after a loss.
Yeah.
And so just so everybody knows, it's called Forever Our Little One. It can be purchased on the necsociety.org website.
That is correct.
But tell us what the book means to you.
I find the book as a sign of hope. It purposely does not have the end at the back of the book, because there isn't an end. No matter if you grieve externally or you are a very private person, there's never an end. I mean, that the loss will always be with you. And, trying to, find a way to communicate that to all ages, especially, children under, say 12 and under, find a way that you can comfortably tell a story and help paint sort of this hopeful end of love and compassion.
Right.
That's the arc of the book.
Yeah, it certainly feels, the book it seems like how your family is living life by using Micah's story to leave such a legacy of his life.
Right.
And I think
He gave us everything he could, and he smiled every day. I mean, even those last couple of days, he still could smile at us. And it's with that you carry it forward. There will never be another difficult thing in my life. It has given me such perspective and grounding. And I use that. I use that in my personal life.
Right.
I use that in my professional life. I'm like, whatever you throw at me is not gonna, trip me up, because I've already gone through the hardest thing in my life.
Yeah, absolutely.
It seems like a message for families who are maybe really early in their grief about how you continue to live
how
with
you can
grief.
continue to live with grief. Absolutely. And my hope, our hope, Jennifer, our hope is that it does end up in palliative care. It does end up on the floor, and it is available for clinicians to hand to a family before they go home.
I think this is the message of the NEC Symposium that we haven't really highlighted, which is your presence, your message of as not the direct parent, but the parent of the parent, how just being there, just be there and remain there. And you've been here at the symposium every day, and you are by Jen's side. And I think, to me, that's the lesson in parenting that I'm taking away from the symposium, because it's not easy. What you're doing may seem easy because you are here and you're helping out, you're doing tasks, but it's what you're doing clearly is not simple, and I commend you for that.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
And
I
an
appreciate
investment of love, for
Yes,
sure.
100%. 100%. Lead with kindness always.
Leslie, thank you so much for dropping by.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I
Congratulations
appreciate the
again.
time. Thank you.
That's okay.